Hello everyone and welcome to Delta Times 2. My name is Prakriti Dheer and today we're going to start learning JavaScript. I am going to make sure to label each video appropriately, so if you want to learn a specific topic, you can find that video easily. We are going to be using Visual Studio Code to write code in this tutorial series, but feel free to use whichever text editor that you like. I will be putting the steps to download Visual Studio Code in my description box below for those of you who want to use that to follow along. I will also be uploading all the code that I write in the tutorials on my GitHub page, which I've also linked in my description box below. So let's just go right ahead and talk about JavaScript. The first question is, what is JavaScript? JavaScript is a scripting language, which basically means it's a programming language which does not need to be compiled. It is read line by line by the computer instead of the entire program being read at once, which is what is done in compilation. JavaScript is used in making web pages. So if you want to make a web page from scratch, what you usually do is you make the structure using HTML, then you pretty it up using CSS, and then comes the role of JavaScript. What JavaScript can do is it makes the web page interactive and it adds movement to the web page. JavaScript can also be used to make applications like web applications and mobile applications, and it can even be used to make games. So JavaScript has a wide range of uses, which is part of the reason why it is so popular in the industry right now. Now let us actually get started with writing code in JavaScript. Who's excited? I, for one, am very excited. And here we are. Here we see the code for a very simple web page which says hello world and a random quote from Friends. I love Friends. By the way, comment down below if you know who said this. Anyways, so let us execute this and run this web page. And we can see hello world, and I wish I could, but I don't want to. Now this is not very exciting, is it? So we can use JavaScript here to spice things up. How? By using the script tag. Inside the script tag, we have just opened our JavaScript world. So we can use a very simple method called alert. What alert does is that it generates a pop-up box and on our web page, and it can show a message which it takes as an argument. So in this message, let's write first JavaScript code, and we can save it and let's run it. So we get a pop-up box which says first JS code. We say OK, and it shows us the original HTML web page that we had before. So what JavaScript did over here was that it made our web page interactive. It allowed the user to acknowledge the message box, the pop-up box that appeared by clicking OK. So in real life, programs are huge. They're not like the one-liner program that we just wrote here. And including thousands of lines of code in an HTML file can end up looking very messy. So what we need is another way to include JavaScript code in our HTML file. So what we can do is we write JavaScript code in a separate file and we store it as with the extension of .js. So I've written one such file right here, and it contains the code which says alert file code. So it will generate a pop-up box which will display the message file code. We include it in our HTML code by the script tag, but by using the source attribute over here. And we put in the path to that file. So I'll just show you. My HTML file and the .js file were in the same location. So I can simply write the code of the I can just write the name of the JS file and we end our script tag and we're done. Let's save it and run our HTML code and we get a pop-up which says file code. We say OK and we get a second pop-up which says first JS code like before. Alright, so now we can go ahead and discuss some basic syntax that we are going to be using throughout this tutorial series. And okay, so in JavaScript, a semicolon at the end of a statement, so alert first JS code, it's a statement. So we end statements by semicolons in C++ or Java or C. But in JavaScript, this is optional. So here a new line essentially acts like a semicolon or the indication that a statement has ended. But this only works if your statement is not broken. If the statement is broken up into multiple lines, then you have to put a semicolon to indicate that the statement has ended. Another very important thing in general, a very important coding practice is comments. So a really well-written program is one which is fully documented. So if someone reads your program, even someone who is not well versed in that language, they should understand what your program is doing. And that is done by writing comments on each and every part of the program to make the person reading it understand what it is about and how it's working. So in JavaScript, comments can be made, single line comments can be made by 2 forward slashes. You can write whatever. And it also has multi-line comments, which starts with a forward slash and a star. And it can end with a star and a forward slash. Okay, so that is it for this video. My aim was to explain to you what JavaScript is, what it can achieve, and how to start writing JavaScript code with some basic syntax. In the next video, we are going to start talking about variables and data types in JavaScript. Thank you so much for watching this video and congratulations in taking the very first step in your JavaScript journey. If you like the video, feel free to like and comment and subscribe to my channel. Have a nice day and goodbye.